Earlier in our conversation, you brought something up that was really intriguing, which has to do with this in-app e-commerce.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, it's like everything is apps, and everything is really hard to deal with because you got to go out of the app to buy things.
Mm-hmm.
You got to just constant hassle. So I gather you said something that indicated you're kind of dealing with that problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we went ahead and implemented, in fact, a payment scheme of our own. We have an infrastructure that handles payment that is approved by the major payment scheme like Visa and MasterCard. So with our simple SDK, in fact, every app developer can add a payment capability in his SDK. And the only thing the customer has to do is onboard his card information once. We don't store that information. We do the validation with the payment scheme network. Once validation is done, we acquire a token that we keep on the device, and with that token, we are authorized to do payment operations. So if next time the user wants to pay a movie, for instance, he just tap with the pop-up that comes from our application, and the payment will be authorized. He wants to buy a pizza, same thing, so simple, so straightforward. And we take care of all the security of the transactions and making sure that Visa and MasterCard are happy and they will process the payment.
How does that get set up on the app?
On the app, it's simply an API. It's a simple API. We have an SDK that we deliver to the app developer. He calls that API that does register me and then pay.
As I look at this, it seems like there is right now a huge opportunity for e-commerce out there that really isn't being utilized by service providers and even content people. And a lot of it goes to this problem. I mean, if you have an Amazon, their whole business is about selling people things. But when it comes to viewing, when it comes to advertising, typically things have not been around selling something on the spot. It's been about promoting something. Mm-hmm. Is there some way of marrying this in with ads so that basically you can create a situation where while an ad is appearing, something can show up and say, click here if you'd like to learn more or buy this, since it is digital after all?
That's exactly, you perfectly got the point. We now want to encourage a purchase. We now want to encourage a transaction. Make it easy, simple enough that the user wants to do it a sporadic purchase.
So if they've signed up for a particular content service, all that information is already stored. They have their card on base, so something like that could appear without having to go through another sign-up process.
That's correct, yes.
And so you can start, as a service provider, for example, not only sell addressable advertising, but sell advertising addressability with the opportunity to put this app support in.
That's correct, yeah. So either the user can choose to not have ads anymore and pay to drop the advertisement, or he can also simply make a different purchase from the content from his viewing session.
Well, Cyril, I said at the outset we were going to hear about some things really new, but I had no idea just how new and potentially disruptive some of this is. So thank you very much for taking the time to talk about it.
Thanks, Fred, for taking the time to talk with me.